say chill, but he waiting on your last stack. Politician with the clean suit. Speech sounds sweet, but the teeth root. Deep in your check, in your time, in your hope. Every form, every fee, every rope round your throat. Still
wake up before the dawn rise. Chase light through the tall high rises.
Mouth dry, but the dream still new. If the city is Rome, then I'm Roman too.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Don't know what other countries do, but here, do as the Romans do.
Got a ground when the city stares back at you.
When in Rome, do as the Romans.
Hi, I'm Valeri Larko. I'm what I call an urban plein air artist. I like to go and paint in corners of the city that most people don't take a second look at and stay there and paint for months at a time. A large painting can take me 2 to 3 months to paint on location. I work on one in the morning and one in the afternoon because after about 3 hours, the light drastically changes. So on any given day, I'm usually working on 2 different paintings. Like I said, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. I particularly like painting in urban locations because this is the kind of environment that I've lived in most of my life. I was born out on Long Island. I grew up in New Jersey, but shortly after finishing art school, well, I went to art school in Plainfield, New Jersey, and then I went to art school in the city. So after totally finishing all of my studies, I moved to Jersey City, New Jersey. And if you know anything about Jersey City, it's a big populated city, a lot going on. And I moved to Jersey City and I'm all done with art school and I'm like, what am I gonna paint now? So I went into the local park, which was surrounded by industrial parks, so it's kind of funny. And I just sat up there and started painting the view. And one painting led to another, and that was in the late 80s. And here I am, 2026, still painting urban landscapes. I currently live in southern New Rochelle. I'm in the Bronx in 8 minutes. I've been living here for 22 years. So for that period of time, I mostly paint in the Bronx and surrounding areas. Sometimes I go a little further into Queens and Brooklyn and not Staten Island though. Never painted in Staten Island, but I love all the boroughs, except I don't go there. Anyway, everything that I can easily drive to, my car is my mobile studio. I pack it up with my gear, throw some lunch in there, and I go out for the day, every day, to capture what I want. My painting season starts around the end of March, the beginning of April, depending on the weather, how cold it is, and how rainy it is. And then that lasts till about mid-December. And then in the winter, I will go and work on my unfinished studies. I'm going to just pick one up right here. For all of my major paintings, I do a quick color study. And then in the winter, I use the large version of the painting to finish the study. So I call my studies finished studies. Here's the study for this one. This is a train bridge in the South Bronx near the Randall's Connector. And here's another finished study. This is of the 59th Street Bridge in Queens. It's from the Queens side. My mother was born in Manhattan next to the 59th Street Bridge, which is why I call it that. It's also known as the Queensboro Bridge. And some mayor, they put some mayor's name on that bridge, but I'll never use that name. It's the 59th Street Bridge to me and my mama. And there's a picture over there. Show them that's the large version of the Queensboro Bridge from Queens, from the Queens side.
The completed job.
Yep, and that's the large painting that I used to finish the small study. Well, there's a couple of things. Probably one of the things is I am a bit obsessive. I am very goal-oriented. I like to, once I get my mind set on something, I just do it. And I love painting. I took an oil painting class when I was 19 at Morris County Community College in New Jersey. I had no idea what I really wanted to do when I grew up, so I took some community college classes. And when I took that painting class, that oil painting class at 19, it was love at first brushstroke. After that, I knew that all I wanted to do was paint. And I had no idea what I was going to paint, but I knew I wanted to paint. So then I went to art school in Plainfield, New Jersey, a school called Cret School of the Arts. It was the least expensive art school I could find. And that's why I went there, because I didn't have a lot of money. And I got scholarships and stuff, so that helped. And it was a 3-year school. And when I finished that, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? And back then I thought I was going to paint people. I actually went to school to be a figurative painter. So after I finished with Cret, I went to the Art Students League and the National Academy of Design, both in Manhattan, and I got scholarships to work from live models, to take classes, figure painting classes. Okay, fast forward. Now I've been in school way too long, like 7.5 years, a year and a half of community college, 3 years of art school, and then another 3 years of art school. And I know that I got to get out into the real world. And I moved to Jersey City right out of art school. And that pretty much changed everything. I'm like, nobody wants to pose. How many self-portraits do I want to paint? So I just started looking around me. I started going into the local parks and painting there. One of the local parks was called Mosquito Park by the locals. It was actually Leonard Gordon Park. It still exists. And that was one of the earliest places I started painting. And then I started going into the industrial parks and painting close-ups of the tanks and the other industrial stuff. And that just kept expanding to different subject matter in New Jersey, most of it urban related. And then all of a sudden in 2003, my then boyfriend, now husband, and I buy an unfinished apartment, a loft in New Rochelle, spent some time fixing it up. And so since 2004, I've been painting urban landscapes. I'm in the Bronx in 8 minutes from where I live. And even the part of town that I live in New Rochelle is the city part. You know, I'm surrounded by gas stations and, you know, stores and stuff like that. And there's a lot of cool train trestles and bridges, and I've always loved painting bridges. That's even true of when I was in New Jersey. One of the first bridges I ever fell in love with was the Pulaski Skyway. It's just a gorgeous bridge. And I painted that multiple times. And so when I came over to this side of the world, that's when I started painting the Bronx Drawbridge, the University Heights Bridge, the High Bridge, the Washington, the Hamilton bridges, the 59th Street Bridge. You give me a beautiful bridge and I'm going to want to paint. Well, that's a really good question. And I think I have to both thank and blame my mother. Alice Larko, she was a pain in the butt. Unfortunately, she was severely mentally ill, and she was also incredibly difficult. And basically, I had to take care of her. I know that sounds odd. And it turned me into a worker bee. And that's where I thank Crazy Alice, as I like to think of her. I have her to thank because it turned me into a person who knew I had to take care of myself. Not only did I have to take care of her, I had to take care of myself. And if I didn't learn how to do that, I was going to sink. And it's a sink or swim world when I was growing up, and I decided I was going to be a swimmer. So those early challenges did two things. One, they turned me into a worker bee. I'm very goal-oriented. I really want to get things done. When I put my mind to something, I just do it. I rarely accept no. I'm going to make that no turn into a yes as often as I can. And the other thing, because my mother was so difficult and downright crazy, that it turned me into a person who isn't really afraid of much. You know, sometimes I'm asked, how do you paint in these abandoned buildings or these funky sites where you're the only person around? Yeah, I'm 5'1" on a good day. And I don't carry guns or weapons or mace. I don't do any of that stuff. I just do my thing. And if people start to mess with me, I got the loudest voice.
You got the loudest voice?
And I know how to make people think that I might be scarier than they are. I might be crazier than they are because I can tune it on and off. My mother couldn't tune it on and off, but I can. And so if somebody really starts to screw at me, I know how to scare them. And it works. I've had really crazy encounters, and usually it's a dude. They always back down. One time it was a woman. Her, I had to figure out something easier to do because she was just cursing and yelling and threatening me.
Going overboard.
And I just, all of a sudden, I just picked up my phone and I started filming her screaming at me. It'd be amazing how she stopped talking in about 2 seconds flat. She just shut up. And I said, oh, don't you want to curse me out and say more for the camera, honey? No, she left me alone. And then she came the next day I was painting. This is in the North Bronx, and starts filming me, and I start waving and smiling. And that pissed her off. Then she comes back again another day thinking she can intimidate me. And then I start filming her, filming me. And now she realizes no matter what she does, I ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And she left me alone and I finished my painting. And a couple of years later, I went back to the same site and did a painting of it to the other side of the street. And she never even bothered me that time.
Oh, she was still there?
Yeah, she still lives there, but you know, she never bothered me after that.
Right. So is there anything you want to say to the people? Anything, you know, motivational, and anything you want to wrap up about yourself?
Well, what I will say about painting the world around me, which is really what I do, I think there's beauty in everything. And if you open your eyes and you look the way the sun comes through a train trestle and leaves this beautiful patterns of light and dark, or the way a beautiful tree will grow up in an area that you'd never expect, or some wildflowers, there's beauty everywhere. And if we look for it, it'll make us feel a little better. And for me, painting is my happy place, and it's nurtured and helped me in so many ways over many decades. I'm a very lucky artist.
Well, thank you, Valerie, and thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Black ice on the sidewalk, rent due, landlord side talk. Steam rise from the sewer grate, clocking late, still chase that plate. Metric card low, but the fare high. Tax on every crumb, still a bear pie. Hands out, everybody want a piece. From the blocks to the suits to the badge on the street.
They count your pockets on a Q train, smile in your face, but they love pain.